Good day, beautiful soul family, and welcome back to the discovery of the miracles beneath the surface. All the honor and all the glory and praise goes to our Heavenly Father in King Yahushua's name. Beautiful soul family. My oldest son and I were having a conversation, and it was actually started from our daily bread today. And our daily bread comes out of Psalms chapter 95. Psalms chapter 95 verses 10 and 11, and it reads, 40 years long was I grieved with this generation, and said, it is a people that do err in their heart, and they have not known my ways, unto whom I swore 7 oaths in my wrath, that they should not enter into my rest. You know, beautiful soul family, I would like to take a look at this picture. Who do we see? Well, this is a critical time frame, and this is an emergency room. And we have nurses, and we have nurse practitioners, we have doctors, all working together to save this person's life. We got the lighting, perfect instruments, perfect professionalism, mastery of their skill sets. They all know what they're doing. They're all properly in function, all present to what is going on. The most important thing that they must do is going beyond their job. This is about saving life. Now, on a physical standpoint, this is something that happens on and on every day. As we're living our lives, as we are doing what we're doing in our life, there is yet someone on this emergency table and they're all coming together to save their life. And sometimes they are revived, but sometimes they're not. And no matter how hard, I mean, we've seen this in movies. No matter how much they perform their CPR, they do everything that they were taught, that they're trained to do, but still the heart is flatlined. And in the very beginning, beautiful soul family, as they are going in on their journey as being a nurse, a doctor, LPN, RN, so on and so forth, it could be very sad when you work so hard and yet still a flat line. And the only thing that you can do is walk away. See, here in this room, they have the proper lighting. They all have gloves. They all have the stethoscopes. They all have their training. They all feel confident in themselves. This is a free flow state right here because they're all focused on saving this person's life. Now, let's take it to the spiritual aspect, shall we? Here we have a person who is caught up in the midst of the devil's lies. So caught up and wrapped up that they are practically dust. The presence of Yahuwah isn't there. These are the children of the Most High Yah, also known, like people call them earth angels, chosen ones, They're the children of Yahuwah. They're the prophets. They're the anointed. He said, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm. Why do you think he said that? Because he sends them to do this, to save lives, to bring forth messages. And sometimes when messages aren't spoken, it's in action. Action speaks louder than words. You see, what's so interesting, beautiful soul family, without saying so much, is that all of these professionals here at this table is focused on saving this person's life. They're able to look at a person and see what is going on and notice what they are needing to do to save their life, to bring them out of the bricks or the brinks of falling into the pit. At this appointed time, it is most sensitive. It is critical to save a person from death. And they're pulling out all the stops. But when a person is gone, they're gone. Each person is not doing the same thing. In this world, they want people to all do the same thing. Be like the next person, but what about what you're meant to do? So anyways, here we have these nurses and doctors here working together. They all have their different skill sets and they're all functioning at this very moment. Some are messengers, some are evangelists, some are pastors, so on and so forth. Some are healers. Matter of fact, all this whole group is healers in action. And this person on the table is oblivious. As I mentioned, some lives are saved and they're able to go into the critical room where they are able to come to healing, but others not. Beautiful soul family, they are able to see what's going on with this person. And they're fully functioning in doing what they can to save this person's life. But this person on the table is oblivious. They're at a point of where they need help. And that's why Yahuwah says, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm. Because these are the people who are sent at this particular time to save life. Now, Satan knows this. There's nothing that happens by happenstance. You know, when Moses, when he left Egypt, he went through the wilderness. He went through a lot of the things that the Israelites were going to be facing. Okay? And Moses went through things that he went through it all first, is what I'm trying to say. Each of these doctors and nurses, there's a reason why they became a doctor, a nurse, so on and so forth. Because they experienced things and they said to themselves, you know what? I don't want this to happen to someone else. As a matter of fact, I know it's going to happen to someone else, but at least I want to be there to make sure that I can prevent this or that. And that's why Yahuwah says, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm. I'm sending them out. I'm sending them out with a message to awaken you. I'm sending them out with a message to warn you, to help you, to prevent you, to allow you to come to a point where you can use your mind. When you can connect the dots and see the truth about things and turn away from that pit of destruction. Come off the path of destruction. Can you imagine? Nowadays, they are determining that such professions, even teachers, are not valuable. So slowly but surely, they're taking them off the scene. Even though this world deems them as not being a professional, one to be respected for their skill sets, it doesn't take that purpose away from them. Beautiful soul family. Without these people being there, Satan gets what he wants. In Genesis chapter 3, it says that he is judged to where he will devour the dust all the days of his life. And as I mentioned in a prior message, our Abba Yah, he knew us before he formed us. And though he formed us, still wasn't a living being until he blew his breath into the nostrils. He didn't blow his life force into armpits or kneecaps, but into the nostrils that he created to receive such. And Satan is trying to so hard have a high production of dust, reverting people back to where they're dark, null, and void. But Yahuwah created life. He created life not to one day die, but to actually live abundantly. To see the fullness of life. Not to be on this table in the emergency room, hanging on by a thread. You see, we're seeing this in the physical plane. Well, really, it's an AI image. But this is happening more than we can ever imagine. This is not the will of Yahuwah. But this happens. Beautiful soul family. If these doctors or nurses weren't there, this person's life, this person wouldn't have an opportunity of being saved. And as I mentioned, there are time frames where no matter how much work they put into it, no matter how much prayer, no matter how much kindness and respect, when it's a flat line, it's a flat line. And they have to walk away. Some doctors, they're going to continue to pump. Continue to do CPR. Continue to give those life-saving breaths. But sometimes, when a person is gone, they're gone. When a person continues to do what they do and they are overjoyed in doing the things that they're doing, they're gone. Their hearts are wax cold. They are flatlined. And the only thing to do is walk away. The only thing to do is to receive it for what it is and walk away. Recording the time frame and following through with the next steps. There's a lot of anguish because what they're looking at is life. What could they have done? But when a person is done, they're done. Especially when they enjoy playing in a person's face. Yahuwah, he shows us everything before we get into the situation. Just like the situation is taking place. They know it's a gunshot wound. They know it's overdose. They know it's this. They know it's that. They know what needs to be done in order to save a person's life. But like the movie They Live, when the person doesn't want to see the truth, sometimes you gotta fight with them. But sometimes they're so far in that they know the truth, but they're not there to change things. They've already been defeated. You see, beautiful soul family, in the movie They Live, he had to fight with that melanated man to put on the glasses so that he could see the truth. But another thing is the lady. There was a Caucasian lady who he was trying to get her to see the truth. And even though she knew what was going on, she was utilized to be a mole. She was human. She knew what was going on. But she was so far gone that she ended up being an oppressor. Not a helper. Her eyes were open, but from a different sense. And then when you see that taking place, you have to let it go. Beautiful soul family, if you are seeing this message, a lot is being said here. I'm in hopes that whatever you are able to perceive, it just might change your life. And if you are one of these doctors, nurses, a healer, and you feel like giving up, and you feel like it's worthless, understand that Yahuwah is the one with the final say. Understand that sometimes you will save a life, but sometimes the life is meant to be flatlined. Sometimes there are people who choose to live that lifestyle, and you have to simply walk away. Until the next message, have a beautiful and wonderful day, and may Yahuwah continue to open up your eyes in these interesting times.